Welcome to the Oracle Codex Podcast. In this podcast, we are unfolding the divine mysteries and remembrances of the Oracle. What is her story? What was lost that we are now reclaiming? And what is her medicine? Let's unwind and reweave our sacred history. I'm your host, Grace, and I'll be holding space during our journey together. Love you so much, and let's dive in. Okay, everybody, welcome to the second episode of the Oracle Codex Podcast. We are so excited that you're here with us, and I have an absolutely amazing, incredible guest today. Sanja Rose is a cosmic guide weaving astronomy into her biz alchemy and entrepreneurial gifts. She is the CEO and founder of her own powerhouse businesses, Shakti brand, Shakti School of Magic, True Star Systems, and Shakti Waves Radio. I may even be missing some of her works here. She is such a vibrant soul, working with the medicine of the witch, the cosmos, her lineage in the ancient world to support the modern human. We're so thankful you're here. Thank you so much, Angel. Yeah, welcome to this space. How are you feeling? How are you doing today?
Thank you so much for having me. Well, today is a really powerful day in the cosmos because the sun and Mars are right over top of each other. And this doesn't happen every year. And they're in the sign of Libra. So there's a massive activation in peace and deeper harmony inside and out that's happening on the planet, which we deeply need at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm feeling that. I'm feeling those ripples. I'm feeling really good. We just came out of eclipse season. I talk about everything in relationship to the cosmos. That's how I measure time and measure my time here on Earth. So I'm feeling really good. There's lots of new energy in the space.
It's so beautiful. Yeah, me and Sanja met yesterday, and she just kind of blew my mind with all of her amazing information on astronomy and astrology. And yeah, I know she's gonna break it down a little bit for us here today, but her knowledge is so vast. And I love that you're kind of allowing source and like pioneering this for yourself, like that one story you shared with me where you just looked up and you were like, this isn't right. And maybe you can share that story because it just blew my mind in the way that you look at astrology and even the days of the months of the year. Um, yeah, I just want to dive into so much of that because it really opened my eyes to working deeper with nature, working deeper with the seasons and organic life as a healer, as a tool for this organic way of living that really supports us. And that way we can work with energy, you know, when it's like you're saying, it's today is peace and there's so much harmony coming in and opening us up. So that's so magical and beautiful. So yeah, please tell us, so what is your form of astrology? What is it that you work with in astrology?
Okay, so I am a true sky astrologer, which means that I study the visible sky with my naked eye, sometimes with binoculars or with telescopes, which is so much fun because then you can see moons and stars really close up. But so many of us can study the stars with our naked eyes. The visible planets are named that because they're visible with the eye. And so we can see Mars, we can see Venus, we can see Jupiter, we can see Saturn. Sometimes we can see Mercury. It's pretty small, though, a little bit harder to see. And then of course we can see the constellations. And so when we study the true sky, and what I did, I became an astrologer 4 years ago. And about 3 years ago, my astrologer friend and I were looking up at the sky and we got astronomy apps because of course we're fascinated by the stars. So we downloaded astronomy apps so we could learn where the constellations were. And we looked up and we saw that the moon was in Cancer that day. And we're like, wow, the moon is in Cancer. And right beside Cancer is Leo. And right next to Leo is Virgo. And it's the constellation, it's the zodiacal procession that's actually happening in the visible sky. And we realized, wow, it says that the moon is actually in Leo today in Western astrology. It's skipping ahead. It's in a different timeline. And so very quickly, and I'd already been learning about Vedic astrology and the fact that Vedic astrology or sidereal astrology kind of is 23 degrees. Is it ahead or behind? Now I'm forgetting. Yeah, it's ahead. So Western astrology is ahead. So sidereal astrology is 23 degrees behind Western astrology. If you're like thinking about it as the 360 degrees and each of the signs has 30 degrees. But even that is an oversimplification of literally the infinite vastness that is the cosmos. The cosmos are still being discovered. We don't know everything about space. It is ever unfolding and unraveling towards us. So to simplify it in a simple graph and make all the constellations 30 degrees and to make it always fix that Aries is the start of spring is simply not correct. And it's actually this false timeline warp that the Roman rulers created because Western astrology became popularized during the time of Roman rule. During about 300 BC, at the same time that they took the teachings of Christ and realized that it was getting too popularized, right? They killed Christ, and then they realized that his teachings were so popular that they made it into the Roman Catholic Church as a form of dominance and control. So they did the same with Western astrology. They fixed the system into what it is now, and people have been following it ever since. And I was around back then during that Roman time when they did that in a past life, and I wasn't happy with it then either, and they tortured me for speaking out against it. They like locked me away in a tower, and that was a really painful past life to process. But since I've been really deepening into that this is the lifetime where I get to share the truth of the stars and freely do so. And I feel so blessed that I have that ability, that I can share it here with you. I don't take it for granted that our ancestors of old and that us in past lives were very persecuted for speaking the truth, for being heretics, for being the ones to have a new relationship to the cosmos and to God and to Christ. And so it's really profound to just connect with the cosmos by looking at them yourself. When I want to get information from Aquarius, I'll go look at the Aquarius constellation, and I'll go look at Saturn in Aquarius to get information from Saturn, which is where Saturn currently is. Or I'll look at Jupiter in the Aries constellation and get information directly from Jupiter. And they speak really loudly, at least to me, but it's something that anyone can attune to as soon as people learn about the true sky, and that they can download any astronomy app. My favorite one is Star Walk 2. There's so many others. They all work. They're all scientifically based. This is the intersection of science and spirituality, which is so sacred, right? Science is really the mind of God. Is when you really get down to it, like when you understand physics, when you understand how flowers are made, sacred geometry, Fibonacci sequence, all of those, the numbers and the mathematics of the universe is really starting to understand the brilliance of the mind of God and creator. But there's also so much more. There's also the unknown mystery that envelops all things. And so I've been studying the true sky, and it has been such a profound embodiment practice for me. I really think that embodiment work is the core purpose why we study the cosmos, which is why I love human design, because it is the cosmos embodied in your physical vessel, in your energetic system, in the 9 centers of the human body, which is ever evolving, right? It evolved from 7 chakras into 9 energy centers, including the spleen and the G center. And it's so profound to feel the cosmos in your body, to actually feel that you are the microcosm of the macrocosm, right? That there is a sun, that there is a moon, that there is a Venus sign within your own energetic system based on the day that you were born. Wow. And it's so profound to feel into that. And it's so empowering to do that. I can't wait to read your chart and give you that information for you to expand yourself with, because it's such deep self-knowing, it's such deep self-love, and it's the truth. It's the truth of what was happening that you can visibly see. Whereas in the Western astrological tropical system that's conventional now, that's really popularized itself since 2020, it is it's a false timeline. It is our conditioned self. It is really our false self that society would like us to be, that we believe we have to be. But when we really honor our true self, true magic happens. Real deep, real human embodiment occurs at that point. So I believe it's the technology of the now and of the future.
Wow. I love when you said that science is the mind of God.
Mm-hmm.
That is so potent. And yeah, everything you're saying with, we were talking yesterday and me and Sonia were talking about how it does feel a bit malicious, this intent to kind of take us out of our divine sacred knowing of self. And um, it's just so funny. It's hilarious that, tropical astrology is so well known, but it isn't actually following what the sky is saying. Like, that's just so silly and hilarious to me. And,
It
you
is.
know, as somebody who, I like astrology, like I've looked into it before, but I've never like taken the time to really um look at the sky and say, okay, what is actually going on up there? And I feel for the woman, especially for like this feminine body, like being attuned to nature and the seasons and even the cosmos. And I love so much that you said that it's in our body
Mhm.
because um yeah, like we can feel the seasons in our body. We can feel these like we're just so divine and huge and creationally abundant. And I love so deeply too that you tie in the human design into it because oof, it just gets so juicy and so like
Mm.
even bigger and bigger. And so yeah, so those are a few of your kind of tools and practices. Do you have anything else that is like a sacred weaving that you find really supports your divine embodiment in this lifetime?
Mm, yeah. So my core embodiment tool is definitely connecting to the cosmos and feeling through those cycles, especially the moon cycles. As a woman, as someone with a moon, we have 13 moons, the moon has 13 cycles. And so we like to connect to that is really to connect to the divine rhythm of life, to the divine rhythm of nature, of literally life on this planet Earth. And it's so profound to connect to that. And so I also do a lot of, I mean, there's so much that I do to take care of myself. Number one, I love being in nature. I have a Taurus Earth, a Taurus Mars, and a Taurus rising,
Wow.
and Scorpio/Libra Sun. I'm in the Libra Scorpio cusp during the Pleiadian alignment or the Pleiadian opposition when I was born, which is coming up next week as we're recording this. So I have such a deep connection to the earth. So really being on the earth, feet on the ground, connecting to nature, especially water bodies, since I am a water sign in my sun sign, and being able to be with the planet, like being able to hug trees. Like hugging trees is honestly one of my core self-care practices, and they always give me such deep wisdom. So as much as I'm focused on the outside of this planet, on the cosmos, I'm also present that this is the planet that we're on, and Mother Earth is so infinite and vast in what she can teach us. And whenever I'm out in nature, I just feel most at peace and most like myself. My nervous system is regulated and everything just happens more easily and more effortlessly, and true abundance is present all around me because nature is so abundant naturally. And so being in nature, forest bathing, grounding, hugging trees, those are major self-care practices that I teach and that I also practice myself. And then I was formally trained as a Kundalini yoga teacher and as a life coach. And I did really intensive trainings with both of those. Those are pretty intensive up-leveling trainings to do. And so I actually weave that into my work where I do these really powerful somatic meditations and activations in my work, especially my work like Lucky Witch, which is my witch wound healing and prosperity program, where you heal your witch wounds, activate your superpowers, and prosper. And I do somatic somatic meditations in each one of those initiations inside of Lucky Witch. And it really gets you inside of the physical body, but also moving the breath and then visualizing and connecting to lots of energy work. And that was really something that I wove together from my Kundalini teachings, and then my cosmic understanding, and then also my understanding of energy work, as well as my life coach training, just sensing what people need in a moment and what they need to shift to get out of a certain rhythm or cycle or pattern so they can be in a different space. And I really love doing those somatic activations, and they're really profound visualizations. The other day we were activating the superpower of sisterhood as witches inside of Lucky Witch. And I connected to the Pleiades, the 7 star sisters. And we literally linked hands together cosmically with the 7 star sisters, and they supported us and healed us. And we activated so much and released the wound of sisterhood as well, because there's also that wound of not trusting other women, not trusting other sisters. It's very present for magical people, magical women. And so I wove it all together. So I really love integrating it all. And it's such a profound gift that I get to do all of this work. Even with my marketing work, I've been a marketer for 13 years. I've worked with some of the biggest brands in the world. And then when I became an astrologer, I wove those two things together into cosmic marketing, because the chart for someone's individual self or for their business, because every business has a birthday, speaks to me so profoundly in terms of their gift, their ultimate expression, what it is that's next for them, what their mission is, how to put themselves out there next. And I can even, like, I've seen in a chart sometimes, I'm like, oh, you're meant to be speaking on stages, you're meant to be communicating or on YouTube or doing this or that. And it just speaks through me. And it's a really cool integration to support soulful entrepreneurs. And I just think it's so sacred. I honestly can't believe that it's my life's work.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I have my Oracle gifts where I can read Oracle cards. And when I read astrology charts, it's very much an Oracle trance that I go into. I don't even remember what I said because it's not for me. Yeah, it's really profound.
That's so amazing. So mystical and magical. I love so deeply the connection that you have with Earth, Mama Yaya. And I feel so deeply like you're talking about when you just gaze at the sky and you connect to a constellation, or you connect to a tree, or you connect with, anything. There are so many messages and deep love and gratitude and just like this creational weaving of life on in this universe. And just like as we exist, it's so abundant, all of this information. That's such a great tool that I'm so thankful that we can share, is yeah, just connecting with nature, connecting with life, and allowing these messages to come in, allowing these this breath of life. Because I feel it's so funny, with like, it kind of feels like a lot of people struggle with what to do, how to do it. And life is always communicating with us, right? It's always so gently like holding us and talking to us and wanting to nurture us. And um yeah, when we get back into that connectivity with nature, with the sky, with the cosmos being inside of us, it's like, oh, we remember that we're always held and that we're always abundant and that we're always, you know, a part of creation. And it's so beautiful, that you're sharing these amazing gifts and reminding women of their their beauty, their abundance, their divinity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I love too, in the beginning, you shared, your past life with, having that being kind of taken from you, or being repressed for expressing that way. And I feel like right now, so many women, um, we're just rising together, and we're just able to hold each other and remember these sacred codings. It's such a potent time in history.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it amazing
Yeah,
that we came here at this time? Like,
I
really,
know.
it was in 2020 when I realized, like, wow, we were born for this moment. Like, we were born for this time, for this massive shift in humanity's frequency and the way that we relate. And I talk about it in terms of Pluto generations, right? Pluto is very much our generational cohort groups. And I was born during the Libra Pluto generation, and I have to double check what yours is. But I believe yours is either Scorpio or a ficus. And so I believe that the Libra and Pluto generation, born from November 88 until, what is it? Until 96. I don't remember the month exactly. I'll have to cross-reference. But 88 to 96, we are here to bring about world peace. And that is a massive shift in the way that humanity currently functions, with the military industrial complex making money from war, which is so incredibly disgusting and disturbing to be aware of, to come into realization of that is the reality of the world, and that is something that won't even exist in the future. Like, there will be children born in the future who will be like, remember when there was war? Like, that was crazy. That was wild.
Yeah.
Right? Like, remember when there were centuries and centuries of war and people profited from that? Because we will profit so much more from love. Like, love is the infinite force that is the most powerful force in the universe. And we will all profit from spreading and sharing love. And people already do. There are already new cause-based, soul-based, sacred-based entrepreneurs rising and rising and rising. And it is a journey that's very difficult for anyone listening that is in soul business. It can be so, we talked about this yesterday, it can be so confronting. It can be so difficult. There's often vows of poverty. There's often this feeling of you're not meant to be spiritual and rich. But there are so many more of us working through this prosperity programming so that the people with so much love to give are the ones with the most resources to give it. And I just think of Mr. Beast, like the YouTuber who's so philanthropic. My boyfriend and I have joked, we're like, is he the Messiah? Like, is he? He's young too. He's only 24. Like, he's not 33 yet. Like, I'm not sure who that man is going to become. Like, he feeds hundreds of people, has given them homes, has given them cars, has given them money that saved their lives and when they needed it most. And like, I think he cured 1,000 blind people. 1,000 blind people, gave them sight back across the whole world. It's like he's performing miracles everywhere. He's the biggest YouTuber, and this is what the children are watching. Like, this is their role model.
Wow.
And that is what the future will hold, is more and more people who have prosperity, who just bless. Like, I call it the new billionaires are coming online, right? Billionaires that don't have greed, that instead have a true frequency of prosperity, which is to give. And when you give, you receive so much more. And so I'm really excited about the future. It's an intense, turbulent time right now because we're in the changeover. We're in that changing season, and it's uncomfortable. But it will all change, and reality on this planet will shift. And I can't believe that we're here for it. Like, I still am in awe that this, and I always thank everybody, like, thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to be here at this time, at this pivotal moment in humanity.
Absolutely. It is painful, to have chosen to be here at this time, but I feel like everybody who did come to the earth at this time is so masterful, and they are choosing mastery to help the planet relinquish this density that we're in, to help support the healing, because so many of our bodies and even multidimensionally, like our star families, like there's so much war that has gone on through this duality split of consciousness. And it's yeah, I think Earth is just like this, it's such, like you're saying, it's just such an incredible time to be here because of the potency of this transition. And yeah, we're just healing these bodies. We're literally at the point in time where we're coming from something that was kind of obsolete or kind of like numbed out, being refulfilled back into its divine inheritance and like this sacred, holy, creational will of this body, and like the cosmos existing within us, and us being able to heal and support the whole, like I love everything that you said there, just with the new billionaires coming online, and these, because I think that the people that are coming up into being a healer, or if we're choosing this embodiment, like we are creating the new earth, So we need billionaires that are going to fund the new hospitals, that are going to fund the new school systems, that are going to fund the new, because the society right now is collapsing as we witness, like these next few years are going to be quite, I think, intense as more political standoffs come forward and more people come out as being, you know, really terrible human beings with the PEDO situation and the wars and the malicious intents towards humanity. And then, yeah, how are we going to navigate that? And I'm curious, like, that must be kind of woven into the stars. Like, can we see that happening in the
Oh,
stars?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So 2020 was actually predicted by astrologers for a really long time because there was the Saturn Jupiter conjunction. And that was actually the peak of astrology online when people were searching astrology the most was during December of 2020 when and it was December of 2020 when Saturn and Jupiter conjuncted and came together in the sky, which won't happen again for years and years and years. I'm not exactly sure how long, but it really only happens once in a lifetime. And so getting chills. And so there was this massive Jupiter and Saturn coming together means there is a change coming in the way that we experience power on this planet. There is massive expansion coming in terms of the people that will be in power. And there is wisdom to be learned from the times. And right now, Saturn is in Aquarius. And many people think it's like, I don't even know what they think because I don't follow Western astrology anymore because it's not real. It doesn't even exist. It's not even a real thing. But, and I know that sounds kind of harsh, but when you actually look at the true sky, you're like, why is anyone not following what's actually happening in the sky? Like, how do they call themselves fascinated by the stars if they're not looking at them? I just think it's incredibly ironic, right? It's like to be a doctor, but never like touch a physical body
Mhm.
or like never, it's a heresy. It's like a falsity. And so there is the Saturn being in Aquarius right now means that we're currently going through this massive transformation. And Aquarius really has to do with the philanthropic leader, the leader who is here to transform the planet for good and through their own unique individuality as well. Through being unique individuals, they are here to transform and they want to kind of orchestrate all of this from the background. They don't need to be out front like Leos do, right? So it's this time for this philanthropic leader to be activated, but also for us to see how many of the leaders that claim to be philanthropic, that claim to be doing everything for our safety, for our well-being, for the best of all humanity, that they're actually false leaders, that they're false politicians and that they're not real. So this is the time for that unraveling. So there's this emergence of the true leaders, but also this illumination of the false leaders. And the biggest thing that's about to shift in the next couple of months is that Pluto, our planet of collective change, of rebirth and regeneration, that is our generational shift. It is currently in Sagittarius in the cusp of Capricorn, and it's going to be in Capricorn in the next couple of months. And once Pluto is in Capricorn, it is full on waves of transformation in the systems of power as we know it, in all institutions and all power. And I don't consider it like a crumbling. I don't actually believe that the patriarchy is meant to burn. I believe it's like a forest where there's been established ways of functioning, and some of those ways are really good. Like some ways that we have democracy function or society function makes sense. Like it's been designed by humans and it's quite brilliant. But there's parts of it that need to have control burns, right? Where there's infestations of bugs on the trees that are killing the trees. And so there needs to be controlled burns so that we can regenerate and renew. So it's essentially a reform style where there's going to be lots of reform. There's going to be lots of change, but it doesn't necessarily mean like there is no more government. There is no more governance, right? We need that. We need some sense of order and structure in society, but it will be very, very transformed and very different. And it will actually be what serves, like it'll be a true government where it actually serves people for the people and no one is left behind.
Mhm.
Right. The fact that there are so many homeless people, so many drug users, so many indigenous people without water, so many indigenous people without healing services available to them after all of the trauma generationally that they've experienced. The fact that there's not like government funded healing houses for indigenous people to practice indigenous medicine is such a falsity. Like if I was in government, that would be the first thing I would do is give them water, give them better housing, and give them like healing centers for them to use their own medicine and reclaim their culture. And, not like me doing that for them as, I am Slavic and I did experience genocidal war myself, but I'm still like a white person and I'm not indigenous to this land anyway. I'm indigenous to my own native land in Croatia and Bosnia, but it's about like, I believe that indigenous reclamation is really the whole work. Because when the indigenous people around the world, when all people connect to their roots and their ancestry and connect to the earth and the medicine of their ancestors, we have a profound shift on the planet.
Hi, Soul Fam. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Oracle Codex Podcast. I so hope that you are enjoying this episode and conversation with the Oracle. If you would like to stay up to date on the Oracle Codex Podcast, I highly encourage you to subscribe on your streaming platform, and as well, you can leave us a big thumbs up, like, or comment down below. If you want to stay up to date with Grace, the host of this podcast, you can find her at creationalcodes.com or on Instagram, Facebook at Grace Crysdale. And without further ado, let's get back into the conversation.
When those people are also in power, like, could you imagine if indigenous elders were a part of our government? How different we would function, how different our hospitals and care centers and jails and everything would function if we had true elders present. And so that's the future that I see. I didn't know I was going to be so Sagittarius about everything today, because I have a Sag moon and lots of other Sag generational planets. And my North Node is right between Sag and Capricorn. So I just feel really profound about sharing like what is coming and what is to shift. And that's a part of the Oracle magic that I believe that I possess and that you possess, is this ability to see into the future and feel into it. But that doesn't mean that there's not going to be struggle. That doesn't mean it's all going to be peachy. It's a road to get there, to this, experience of a new way of being on earth.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I feel like the reason that might be coming so strongly for you right now is because the people listening might need to hear that. And you are the channel, right, for that to come through. So that's so beautiful that all of that. And I am the same way, I don't want to create, and we talked about this yesterday. It's so funny. I love that we connected yesterday, but the doomsday energy, it doesn't feel supportive, to say, oh, this is coming and you better stockpile all this, whatever. Like that could be a truth for some people. And I'm not saying that that's not a truth, but I think looking at the cosmos and looking at the internal body as your compass and as your guide in terms of like what you need to do to prepare for the new earth, what you need to do to prepare for the next few months ahead, is so much better than just creating fear and doubt and uncertainty. So I love that you're coming in here with all of that Sag supportive energy, and just kind of, yeah, there's so much beauty coming. And yeah, and I so agree too with the government. And I think that's kind of a spiritual feminine maybe like misconception about what a really healing earth would be like, is no government, everybody just does whatever they want. But the truth is that that would be really chaotic and quite, I think, damaging. We can both agree on that. And yeah, the divine masculines and the divine feminines, like we're going to come into this beautiful sanctuary where we can be held, and that masculine needs to hold the system in place and the structure so that there is an organized flow of things, right? It's so important, I think, with the kind of the feminist movement going on in society and pop culture. It sometimes that gets pushed to the wayside, where it's like, oh, that's not supportive for the feminine and we don't want him at all. We're just gonna, conceive on our own. And it's just like kind of silly, and actually quite traumatizing for the feminine, the true feminine inside. She wants that masculine structure to flow, right?
Yeah.
I wanted Is anything coming through for you on that? If not, I was going to ask you.
I just wanted to say just to kind of wrap up that whole conversation is it's the true masculine. It's actual true healthy masculine energy that is going to be a container, which is what it was originally designed to be, but then it was corrupted. Right. And sometimes there's an overcorrection, there's an overstepping of like, oh, what we need is like pure matriarchy instead of patriarchy. We need a weaving of the two. We need them to marry each other and then have the third, right? The non-binary, the multi-duplicity, the non-duality expressions of life be present. It's like the Trinity, the Holy Trinity, the polarity, and the third needs to be present for everyone in society to feel recognized and seen. And right now we're having like an extreme of all cases. Like we have an extreme of it needs to be feminine, it needs to be matriarchy, it needs to be non-structured, it needs to be just, kind of like an anarchy of will. And then there's also like this extreme expression of the non-duality. And even within the movement of like non-binary, and that's like very important that that's happening right now. But it's also like, there was such a suppression of that now that there's like so much conversation around it, and eventually it would all just balance out where we're all just here on the planet able to live the way we are, all able to love the way we do and be who we are and become who we need to be. And there's going to be like a balancing out of all of the energies, but right now it's all just like everything that like was suppressed before is coming to the surface to be like unleashed and be like, this is a truth that needs to be seen. So and that's necessary, but we are in like these extreme times of correction. What it feels like.
Totally. I just want to share this activation that and what you just said just brought it up so clearly. And I feel like I'm meant to share it. And I think you've probably had this experience too. I had this activation within like the hierogamic union, but it was the Trinity, and it was like the masculine and the feminine. And then the third, like you just said, was this child, but it was creation, and it was non-binary, and it was like this divine existing. But the feminine and masculine are what is allowing that to occur, like this safe, the fluidity and the femininity of that nurturance and that creation occurring, and then the etheric like container, like that structure allowing it to occur. And then like, and that's so needed on this planet and in this body, right? We have these masculine and feminine qualities, and then we also have um this creational like inner child that is just like so excited with the whim and the will of creation. And yeah, I feel like some people might be able to gain something from that kind of understanding, that it doesn't have to be, you know, like I believe in the structure of, having a gender if that feels right for you, or whatever it is that serves you and serves God and serves the structure of you having a container and having a way to express yourself in an organic, helpful and healing and healthy way, but also allowing that creational will of, okay, like in the higher realms, we are just like being, we are just like straight creation. Yeah. So thank you so much
Absolutely.
for bringing that up, because I think that and I love that this conversation is a bit intense, because these conversations are intense, right? They are political, like with the government and the gender identity and the war. So I didn't know that. I think it's kind of a shock to both of us that these conversations are coming up, but it's just needed, right?
It's the depths. I mean, you have a Pisces sun, I have a Scorpio sun. We just went right in. We just dove right into the deepest depths of what's relevant, what's happening, what's real on the earth right now. And when we don't get real about the true like grief that we're processing and the pain and the confusion and everything that's going on, we're kind of denying ourselves the reality of what's true.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not one of those spiritual people that like, I think that the highest ascension path is like to be focused on ascension, meditating in a mountain somewhere remote from society. Like I want to be in society. I work in a restaurant part-time where I get to just like feed people and be with people and see them celebrating life and milestones and anniversaries and birthdays. And and I love food so much because of all my Taurus placements.
Yeah.
We talked about this so much. I was just talking about food for like 20 minutes. I was like, and then I ate this, and then that happened, and then I ate that, and let's go eat now. And so there's something really rich about like being fully human, about being fully in this human experience. And that includes everything that's really happening on the planet. And these are the topics that are popularized right now. And I think that there is such an extreme view of many of them that like having a more balanced middle view, a neutral view, and bringing more harmony and balance to the whole conversation is really what we need, because there's so much division that's happening between people and these topics. And I don't think that that's necessary. I think that we all want love. We all want to be loved. We all want to prosper. We all want to, if that's right for us, have children and have them prosper.
Yeah.
And just love who we want to love and be who we want to be, whatever that is. And so I believe in a world where we get to do that without judgment of each other. But that needs to happen. That needs to come about in a way that isn't about judgment and divisiveness and like, you're wrong, I'm right, like I'm offended, etc. Right? Like if we want peace and harmony, we have to practice peace and harmony. We can't practice divisiveness and then expect there to be peace and harmony. Like it's a folly.
Absolutely. So I want to know, because Ash, this name comes up a lot in your business. Who is Shakti to you?
Shakti. Shakti, Shakti, Shakti. Oh my goodness. So Shakti is a spiritual name that I was given when I became a Kundalini yoga teacher. My full spiritual name is Gyan Shakti Kaur. And Gyan is the study of wisdom and being like a studied student of life and a wise teacher. And then Shakti is the feminine power. It is the feminine force of life. And in Sanskrit, feminine is considered to be the power force. Like it is literally feminine and power are the same word. It is Shakti.
Wow.
And so for me, feminine power in creation is the ability to create life. And it is feminine power being present. Even if someone is a man, even if someone is non-binary, there are still feminine creational codes coming through them whenever they create something. It is through the feminine. And so my brand, Shakti brand, is really about that. Like mostly I do work with women and female creators or really feminine creators, people really tapped into the feminine frequency. And it's about that exactly. It's about the power of creation. It's about the power of art and creating something from nothing. And Shakti Waves Radio is the same thing, is sharing about leaders and creators and my own transmissions that are power. Like what are people in power? What are the emerging people in power? What are their perspectives? What are their stories? What do they have to say? And the waves that they create, like the waves that those waves of Shakti ripple out. And my previous brand, you were just talking about my logo that came up here. That was my logo of like this woman diving in with her hands in prayer pose and this like feminine triangle. And that was like the brand for C and Shakti, which was my original brand name before I switched to Shakti brand. And C and Shakti might be still something that I use to describe a retreat that I'm going to have maybe in Croatia by the seaside. So we connect to the sea and we connect to our own Shakti energy, our own power, our own creational codes, as you described them. So it's really all about creation and about honoring the feminine side of creation and honoring the goddess as well. The goddess in all of us. Shakti is a goddess in the Eastern tradition, and she represents power and connecting to your power. And I just love it. I can't believe it's my name. I used to refer to myself as Shakti Sanja. Or sometimes people in the yoga community would just call me Gyan Shakti, but I don't really love like changing my name that much. I already added Rose to my name because it is my medicine. If I was to have named myself, I would have named myself Rose. So I gave myself that middle name because it is my core like flower medicine. And I drink like rose tincture every single day. I drink rose tea. I made a rose elixir that I might recreate again. So the name of it and actually calling myself by that name doesn't feel correct for me, but I love that it's in all of my branding. So feminine power, and the feminine being what power is.
It's holding so much space for you and your creations. It's like that's so amazing that means power. and feminine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I believe that when we're all present to Shakti within ourselves and within the world, like when the feminine is considered the power source, like that's when we will have love on the
Absolutely.
planet, right? It's not necessarily going from patriarchy to matriarchy. It's still the blending of the two, but the way that that blends is the shifting in thinking of power. Like, yes, there is masculine power in creating results and being dedicated and focused and going towards something and building like a society, building a city, right? Building something. The builders are often masculine people. But there's also like the feminine force of creation, the ability to create life, the feminine power of the earth to go through cycles, to go through seasons, to flower in the spring and to fruit in the summer, and then to, cut back in the wintertime and go into hibernation. That is Shakti. And so when we all recognize Shakti in ourselves and in nature, like we will have a different experience on the planet.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I feel like the more that I connect with like my feminine essence, it is, it is Shakti. It is that power. And it's so interesting. I've been working on my womb. And whenever I work on my womb, it's like life just expands and opens and becomes so blissful.
Mm.
And there is this holy sacred power in there is so much Shakti in this feminine essence. And I feel that feminine essence a lot when I work with my womb and when I work with my heart. And it's so sacred that, yeah, the Shakti exists. I mean, we have so many beautiful mirrors of the feminine, like you just mentioned, the earth, and just this life force of creation it's like Shakti, right? That what they call, what do they call? Oh, it's prana, right? That's like
Like
the
life force energy.
life force is prana. Wow, yeah. And they feel, those two energies feel very similar to me, Shakti and the prana, but yeah,
Mm.
the union of the masculine and feminine, I guess Shakti and her partner would create the prana of life.
Shakti and Bhakti together create the prana of life.
Oh,
I love that. That's so beautiful.
Bhakti. That's so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love for you to share with us, just before we kind of simmer into a closing, is um, any codings or energies that you are working with that or were working with that kind of led you to this breakthrough in your life. Because I feel like so many of the listeners, we're all on our own sacred healing journey. We're all kind of weaving and experiencing the intensities of life. And yeah, I would love for you to share, if you're comfortable, kind of the medicine and the weavings that came through for you when you kind of reached this change, this pinnacle of you kind of coming into the sacred Shakti embodiment and the sacred feminine embodiment in your journey.
Mm-hmm.
What was that medicine or that kind of epiphany or that coding that you
Mm-hmm.
experienced?
Yeah, so I'll share two different evolutions of that. So the initial kind of spark of the transformation happened during my Saturn return. So when your Saturn returns to the same place as it was when you were born, is when you have your Saturn return. It's around 29 and a half, 30 years old. And that was the time when I remembered all of my past life gifts. One day I just woke up and I could read an astrology chart, and I wasn't able to do that the day before. And then all of a sudden it just spoke to me and gave me all these messages. And then I taught myself all the technical pieces that I needed to know. And so it was really through honoring my like awakening to my past life gifts, that and the gifts that I've had throughout all generations, and then expanding them, which was really profound. So that was back in 2019 when I really opened up to that. 2018, 2019. And then it's been a journey and deepening ever since. And Isis and Mary Magdalene have been major supports for me, like as just guides through the feminine healing mysteries, and through my own feminine healing, and through my own expansion into my magic, into my power. And then there was also, during the time of pandemic, isolation, lockdown, and world transformation, and then war breaking out in various areas, I became very, very sensitive, very, very depressed, was constantly processing collective energy, felt like I was feeling all of the pain of the world all the time. And I was self-medicating with a medicine named marijuana that many of us use. And I started using it daily. And I had before maybe used it like few times a year, maybe once a month, like maximum. And it started being a daily practice for me. And I actually felt I was addicted to it, and I needed it in order to even feel normal, in order to feel like myself, in order to feel the way that I feel right now. Like I didn't need it to get high. I needed it to normalize. I needed it to stabilize. And it was good until it wasn't. And then it brought me to the deepest dark night of the soul of my life, where I was so full of fear. I was so full of paranoia. I felt like all of my deepest fears had come true and were my living reality. Like the darkest timeline was present all around me, and I couldn't escape it. And I needed to be with that fear, and I needed to confront those deepest excavation. Marijuana, my friend Kaylee, who's an amazing, herbalist. She does cosmic herbalism and made like cosmic teas for all of the astrological signs and the moons. Really, really powerful seed to sage teas. And she's also a permaculture gardener and landscape artist, and like creates food gardens and food forests for people. And she always says that marijuana is the great revealer. And so it revealed to me like the deepest levels of fear and trauma that I still had present from my war trauma, from my PTSD, from surviving the Yugoslavian war, and escaping that genocide as a child, and then living with PTSD with my family in Canada as a child. And so all of it just came up to be processed, to be sat with, to be seen. And I was very sick. Like I had to go to the hospital. I was having such insane panic attacks. Like I was not well. I was very depressed. And it was this culmination point where when I finally confronted all of that, the only thing that got me through was knowing that I was a soul, and that my soul was eternal, and that my soul could fill up every single part of my body. I became fully soul infused. And when I became fully soul infused, it's like the pain and the fear disappeared overnight. And I remembered who I was, and that my heart was invincible, and that it could literally go through the process of being confronted by all my deepest, darkest fears, my deepest level of subconscious. And then it took months to integrate that. And I like took a break from doing any sort of astrology, any sort of work. I broke my life really. And then from there, from doing that deep, dark night of the soul, I got sober. I haven't smoked weed since. I don't drink really. I don't ever get drunk. Like if I drink, I have one drink and that's it. And I really just drink it because I like the taste, right? My Taurus sensuality wants to just taste and experience things, but never like intoxicate myself, never escape from my reality anymore. So now that I've done this deep work and I've had this dark night of the soul, like truly fully like walk through, I called it the gates of hell that I walked through. Now I feel fully embodied in my physical vessel. I feel fully here. I don't dissociate anymore. I'm fully present to my body. I'm fully present to my emotions. I'm not reactive anymore. I don't feel like I'm feeling the collective pain. I can still sense it. I can still empath with it, but it's not mine to process. It's not moving through my physical vessel and making me weak and making me insecure. I don't need to numb out in order to be in my body. And so it was such a beautiful and profound lesson for me to get sober and to really be with myself and to feel like I've fully landed and I'm fully grounded now. And now that I've been moving through this, I feel more awakened, more powerful than ever, but I'm fully in my body. I'm not in the astral planes all the time. I'm not constantly journeying, even with the cosmos. Like it's this deep level of groundedness that I've reached, that I got to from just choosing to be sober and choosing to also confront all of those fears. Well, I didn't really have a choice. They came at me, and I was brave enough to go in and be like, what is this really about? What's happening here? So that's my story. Like it was an awakening. It was a Saturn return, and years of just like deeper study, being guided by Mary Magdalene and Isis and my guides and Christ, and just like really feeling guided and supported. And then having this culmination point, this breaking point where I still had all of this fear and trauma to process. And then I did. And now I feel really really awake and aware, but I'm not out of my body. Like I am fully here. I am locked and loaded. And I'm ready to serve in a way that I never would have been able to serve before. I've always had a big vision for how much I want to serve and how many people I'm here to support. And now I actually feel like I have the capacity to do so with a lot of ease without burning myself out. And so I'm really grateful to be here at this point and sober and not numbing out and really deeply being with life and feeling grateful for the life around me.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that. That really almost like brought me to tears, that when you said that you became full of your soul and that was what was tying you to this existence, this reality. I feel like those dark nights of the soul, they're such gatekeepers to our greatest embodiment, and taking that on and choosing to move through that. It's such a, yeah, as you shared that, I was just like so moved because I those passage points are so incredibly potent, and that's, the medicine of the gift of it, right? Like it doesn't seem like a gift when it happens, but when we look back, we're like, thank God that that happened to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It is. It
Really is. So before we close off officially, where can people find you?
is.
What are your sacred offerings? And yeah, like what's new and exciting in your world? What do you offer to your clients and your community?
Mm. So you can find me at my website, sanjarose.com, SanjaRose.com, / my dash services if you want to look at my services, but you can find it all there at sanjarose.com. And then on my Instagram is where I share most often at Sanja, Sanja, or Sanja is also how you pronounce my name in Croatian and Bosnian. And also my true star systems teachings and where I teach about the cosmos and astrology is under true.star.systems on Instagram, and then Shakti brand, SHAKTI brand on Instagram as well. So I'm mostly on the Instagram space. I do have a YouTube channel called Sanja Rose as well. If you want to find me there, I post monthly true astrology guidance for everybody. And I have like a calendar that I create every month about each month's true astrology and all the cycles and shifts and transits that we go through. So those are really powerful YouTube videos that I post. And in terms of my offerings, I always do one-on-one true star systems and cosmic marketing sessions with people. So I have cosmic marketing available for entrepreneurs that want to understand their own true astrology and human design, and also that for their business, so they can really amplify their own energy and understand how their unique gifts and what it is that they're here to provide and get clarity on their business. And then I do True Star Systems readings. I actually have them on a discount right now. They're only $144 until the end of the year, until winter solstice on December 20th. And so after that, they're going to go up to $233. So they'll be $89 more. So for anyone that wants to get a reading with me and to really deepen into your true self, your true star self, book in now. And you can do that by just sending me a DM. I have to put it on my website. So just send me a DM at Sanja if you want that option. And then I have my beautiful new offerings. This is really what's new. This is what I've launched recently. So I have Miracle Marketing, which is my sacred marketing membership for entrepreneurs that are in the sacred arts, that have been running their businesses for a while, that do all of their own marketing, all of their own sales, and are really done with doing it by themselves, that want some support, that want my expert support. I have 13 years of experience building the biggest brands in the world, like Whistler and Travel Alberta and Clorox and GoDaddy and Blizzard Entertainment and AT&T, and like big brands, to local brands like Plume Science and Palladian Home and We Are Limitless Love, and just incredible sacred entrepreneurs. And so this container is a really powerful way to get support for your marketing. We have 3 group sessions every month, including a group coaching and healing call with my healer who has 13 years of experience doing body talk therapy, energetic healing, multidimensional healing, because a big part of doing your own marketing and putting yourself out there is healing the wounds of past traumas, of launches that didn't go well, or putting yourself out there, having your voice be heard, or, persecution wounds, whatever it might be. Really, whatever is needed to fully step into your power and share your gifts with the world. And, fear and distrust of people or groups, right? When we have fear and distrust of people, it's hard to let people into our lives to have new clients. And so there's a healing call, there's a live design call where we actually do art and create and look at your website and look at your graphics and do minor little tweaks, like look at YouTube thumbnails. We were doing some of that yesterday together, and it just is those minor tweaks that really have a difference in the way that people perceive and receive your marketing and your graphics and really your message and your work in this world. And then there's a live training every single month, a brand mastery training. And this month we're focusing on cosmic marketing, how it is that you can understand the cosmos and expand your marketing with star power. And so I'll be reading everyone's unique astrology and human design as well as for their businesses. So that's going to be on the 24th of November. I'm not sure if this will be released then, but it'll be available in the container afterwards as a replay. And then the next month, we're doing mythical journeys. So we're going to talk about that mythical journey that people go through when they work with you, and the true heroines journey that they go through whenever from the moment that they learn about you to the moment where they're raving about you and sharing about you with their friends or buying again and again. What does that journey look like? And how is it a truly mythical experience that they go on with you? And so we're going to be diving into that. And then you also get one-on-one time with me every single month inside the Miracle Marketing Container. And there's a VIP version where you can get done for you marketing. So I actually do a newsletter and 8 social media posts for you. And you get an additional 30 minutes with Cassandra Finch, who is that amazing multidimensional healer and is very good at business guidance and manifestation blueprints. So it's a really potent offering, Miracle Marketing, and it's really here to create miracles in the marketing work that people do. So I'm so excited about that. And then I have my Cosmic Arts training coming up that's starting on December 13th during Ophiuchus season, which is the missing 13th sign of the zodiac, the serpent dancer, the one that dances with the snake, that is the master healer in the sky, that is a dancer, that is an artist. And so this is going to be a container for anyone who wants to read the sky and wants to learn how to read the sky and wants to deepen their own embodiment. And it is for people that want to be readers and that want to use that modality in their own work, but it's also for people that really want to deepen into each sign and deepen into the tool of astrology and the tool of human design and learn my whole system of human design from an astrological point of view, because I just spent the last 2 years tracing the true sky to the 64 gates of human design. And it's profound what I discovered. And I'll be teaching it all inside of Cosmic Arts Training, AKA CAT. And I'm so excited. That's going to be a year-long program. We're going to be going deep into each of the signs every single month and deep embodiment work. And my beautiful friend and sister and 13 moon astrologer, Cassidy Lee Bell, will also be a guest teacher in that space. So I'm so excited for it. It's going to be really profound. The wait list is open for that now, and we are starting on December 13th. So you'll see all of that information on my website and on my social media accounts. And then lastly, I have Lucky Witch, which is such an amazing self-guided journey of 13 initiations over 13 days to heal 6 major witch wounds and to activate 7 superpowers so that you can prosper and you can fully step into your magic and into your power. And that one's only $169. And it's such a profound experience. And I've almost finished doing all the recordings for it. I'm going to do a massive prosperity spell today and the prosperity activation today. And I'm so excited for it. And it's just about complete, and it will be fully complete by the time this is released and available for people. And then we're going to be also having live coven community calls and integration cauldrons, as I call them. They're not calls, they're cauldrons. And so it's a really powerful space for anyone that identifies as a witch or knows that they have magical supernatural powers, but has been afraid to fully let them shine, to fully let them out, or has perhaps been doing it for a while, but wants to go to the next level. It's a really potent container for them to get supported and to feel truly lucky to be a witch on this planet, to be a magical being. So that's everything that I have going on. It's very exciting. There's lots happening. I've been in massive multi-dimensional creation mode as a manifesting generator. And now that I have my core offerings out, I just feel so at peace and so excited and ready to serve. So if you have any other questions of how I can serve you, let me know. I also have custom packages for your unique brand. If you need a unique set of services that aren't included already in Miracle Marketing, I'm excited to serve you in whatever way I can. And thank you so much for listening to this epic conversation. And I'm just really grateful that I got to be here with you and that we've met and become friends and had this really beautiful Oracle Codex transmission for everybody.
Thank you so much, sister and angel. You're so sweet and beautiful and mystical and powerful. You have the Shakti so present with you. And I'm so excited to I'm going to book a session for sure. Cause yeah, this woman is just so intelligent and in tune with her work. So yeah, definitely check out her offerings. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. It was such an honor to connect with you on this phone call. And yeah, guys, make sure you check her out. Make sure you look at her page, see and feel into if those offerings are mystical and nourishing for you. And yeah, peace to you, every listener and friend who joined us today.
Thank you.
Oh, it's 12:12 right now. I just need to say that.
Yay!
Hey, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Oracle Codex Podcast. It means so much that you're here listening to the Oracle speak and share their wisdom and enter the temple space. If you'd like to stay up to date on this podcast, please subscribe on your streaming platform. Please give us a big like. And if you have any opinions, questions, concerns, or love to share, please comment it below. If you want to find Grace, the host of this podcast, you can find her on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and at her website, creationalcodes.com. Thank you so much again for being here, and we will see you next time.